Joining us now from the great state of Texas, former congressman and retired lieutenant colonel of the U.S. Army, Alan West. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you very much for joining us tonight. So I want to start off really about talking about the latest developments regarding Michael Horowitz and his report, saying that there is a criminal referral, I guess, stemming from the allegations in that report. What's your takeaway from what you've heard so far?
Well, it's good to be with you, Alex. And it's very interesting. What we all knew was happening is now coming into the light. And that was that it was criminal activities, that was falsification of documents related to the FISA warrant that was issued against, now we know it was Carter Page. So the fact that we do have one of these lawyers in the Department of Justice that falsified that information, I think is going to be very important when that hits the entire wire. And then it's going to be followed up by the Attorney General Durham's report, and then also the report from Michael Horowitz.
What does this mean for Washington moving forward? Assuming that something does come out of this report, as has been reported, will this shake up Washington in a major way and especially give more credence to Durham's investigation that's taking place? Or do you think this might be a little bit like former type of Inspector General reviews where it's a little bit of a slap on the wrist and that's about it?
I don't think it'll be a slap on the wrist. This really goes down to the efforts of a previous administration to undermine the campaign and the presidency of a subsequent president of the United States of America and to take away the right of the people to duly elect a president. But I think it's important that we start to think right now, how will the Democrats react to this? And I can tell you that they're sitting in their strategy room and saying that this is just another one of those conspiracy theories. This is going to be in response to the very important and very vital impeachment inquiry that they just held, which really was a dry hole.
And to speak to that point a little bit, too, we do live in a polarized environment. And when you look at support for impeachment, it does kind of line up with just the president's approval numbers. I mean, people who are generally for impeachment are the people who don't agree with the president generally. And the people who are against it are the 35 to 45% that do support the president. But I think there is an interesting statistic to point out, is that a Political Morning Consult poll showed that among independents, 10% of people no longer agree with the impeachment inquiry. And that is a telling figure right there, because that is the demographic who is essentially going to make the decision in 2020. So, I mean, acknowledging that point, is this whole impeachment inquiry about 2020? And is it going to be successful if that is the case?
Well, and that's what I was saying, is that middle 30 to 35%, and they are just not taking part of this. They don't see this as being a viable course of action. But I will go back to what Representative Al Green, who's a congressman from the Houston, Texas area, said, that we have to impeach this president before we get to the November 2020 elections, because they understand. And you look at the debate this week, you look at the disarray of the Democrat presidential candidacy. You got Deval Patrick jumping in, Michael Bloomberg talking about jumping in, Hillary Clinton hearing voices that are telling her to jump back in. They have no course of action. They have no clear-cut candidate that will take them forward to challenge President Trump. And so this is their only means, and it is a politicized endeavor. And I think more and more American people, I think the 60 to 65%, they're starting to understand that.
Would you like to see the upper chamber maybe exert its oversight authorities?
Absolutely. I think the important thing that the Republicans have to learn is that you don't win on defense. You don't win by sitting back and allowing the other side to dominate the narrative and set the narrative and set the conditions. You have to start getting inside their decision cycle. Because like I said, Alex, once again, they're sitting back right now and they're planning out their next strategy. And so I think the most important thing, you do have Mr. Horowitz coming up there to testify. You do have his report coming out. But I think the Senate Judiciary Committee should go on the offense and call the people that the Republicans wanted to have called and the House side that Adam Schiff blocked.